Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We have Parrish Reed here today conducting a webinar on carpet cleaning. If you have any questions during the webinar, please use the question feature and we will go over all of your questions and comments during the wrap-up section at the end. So without further ado, I'll pass it over to Parrish.
Hey, good morning out there. Thank you for joining us. We very much appreciate you learning about our product, sharing it with your customers. So thank you for joining us, and thank you, Courtney. We'll go ahead and get started. My name is Parrish Reed. I'm with Ideal Tridon, and today's webinar, Carpet Cleaning, it's all in the seat. And for those of you who didn't get the late breaking news, last summer, Ideal Tridon acquired ZSI Foster. So Ideal is the premier worm gear and T-bolt manufacturer in North America with over 70% market share. We also offer strap binder for band and buckle, Campbell hose fittings, ZSI Foster, so we have ZSI cushion clamps, Foster hydraulic and pneumatic quick connects, and yes, there's more. You need strut for those strut clamps. So we have Florida Strut, Versabar out in New Jersey, and Wisenko out in Los Angeles, just down the road from Knott's Berry Farm. So come on out, visit us. All right. So there we go. Always get caught up by that little start button there. So here we're rolling. So just want to let you know, we have a whole team of people, our regional sales managers, people at the factory, our engineers. We're all here to support you, help you be successful. You need technical information. I'll send this out afterwards. We're here to help. You need product crossovers. You need quotes, supporting documentation. And yes, the thing that we like about it, all of our facilities that I showed up there have United States locations, and we let you talk to live people and engineers. We don't shield them. So we want to help support you. And so what we have on tap today is carpet cleaning. We're going to do a deep dive into the carpet cleaning industry. We're going to talk about HWE, which is hot water extraction. We're going to see a whole lot of product applications, but don't just think what you're learning only applies to the carpet cleaning industry, because you're going to pick up some good points. And some of you may already know certain things about this. And it'll apply to many industries out there and many of your customers. So it's not just only one particular application that this knowledge is useful. We're going to do a little bit on coupler selection and user benefits. So sit back, relax, enjoy your coffee. We're going to have some fun because I want to be in a good mood. After this presentation's over, when I have my first margarita, because we are having Cinco de Mayo getting started. Oh, hold on, I'm getting buzzed. Oh, Dave's on the line. That first margarita is at 5. No, make it 5:30. 6. All right, we got a full day ahead. So it wouldn't be right if we didn't thank the most important person on this webinar, and that's you guys out there. Thank you for representing us, helping us learn about the customer, the applications that helps us develop new products. So you are extremely important out there. We want to acknowledge that. You're our rock star, and we have some rock star products we're going to talk about today. And as Courtney said, go ahead and put your questions in. We'll answer them at the end. So here's a list of the usual suspects. You're going to find a lot of these components: Foster ISO-B Quick Connects, Brico Quick Connects, straight through Quick Connects, plug valves, Ideal worm gear clamps, all used in this industry. There's also a variety of loop clamps, pipe fittings like street elbows, hex nipples, all kinds of fittings like that, and hydraulic fittings that we also provide that are heavily used in this industry. So the carpet cleaning industry is a subset of the janitorial services, and that makes up about $70 billion annually. And probably those who are devoted strictly to carpet cleaning, there's about 40,000 businesses, 70,000 employees. There's also a lot of single operators, and not every single one of them gets captured. But also know that a lot of people in the janitorial service, they buy a lot of the OEM equipment and use that that has our products in it. So it's not just the carpet cleaners. There's a lot of other janitorial services where they're taking care of the residential and the commercial businesses. So residential makes up 44% in carpet cleaning. Commercial is the next largest. So you have like office buildings, hotels, restaurants, things like extreme weather, flooding, hurricanes, your hot water tank bursting, things like that are always driving a constant demand in the carpet cleaning industry, and they consume a lot of hose, a lot of quick connects, and so they're in constant need of supply. So what we have in front of us right here is a truck mount, which is probably the most important piece of equipment for the carpet cleaner. There we go. Got my laser working. And remember, don't look directly at it. It's real bright. But here's the truck mount right here inside the operator's mobile van. So there's always quick connects on the face of this. There's some valves behind the panel there. There's a whole host of hose and tubing and clamps. This right here is a vacuum line, a little filter right here. And over here is a solution line. So our truck mount is going to have a pump in there. It pressurizes the system. It heats up the water solution, and it drives it down this solution hose out into the residence or the commercial building. And then that water is sucked up and returned back into the holding tank right here in the vacuum line. They have a whole host of other equipment back here. They should have a portable extractor, a vacuum cleaner, a variety of other products, supplies such as quick connects, fittings in there, and of course, a lot of chemicals to do the job. So that's taking a look directly at the truck mount. This particular one is gas fired. It has a max temperature of 250 and a max pressure output of 2000 psi. Now, I kind of like going through a few of the different components in the system. It gives you a better overall understanding to know what item could be a weak link, where you need to pay special attention to. So it's good to always kind of understand the whole system. And when that happens, you end up being able to do more cross-selling and solving problems for your customer. So I called up a couple of the manufacturers, and I've seen them at trade shows and places previously, but I called them up prior to the webinar. And even though it might go to 250, they like to say, hey, use the operating temperature around 190 to 220. You don't want to stress out the machine, always going all the way to the end. So that keeps it in a good operating range. And if you're dealing with carpet, the user has about 300 to 500 psi for the carpet extraction. Upholstery is 400 psi, and tile and grout requires the highest pressure at 1000 psi. Now, does that mean everybody operates at that? No, they might vary the temperature higher, do higher pressures, or kind of do their own setup. So I'm going to lead you to the Holy Grail today, and we got some exciting stuff, but it may not have been the one that you were truly in search of, but in the carpet cleaning world, this is golden. And if you kind of see this and understand this, you'll understand the mindset of the people out in the industry. So for every 18-degree increase in temperature above 118 degrees Fahrenheit, you double the water's cleaning ability. So what that means to them is the hotter the temperature, the faster I get the job done, the more customers I see, the easier that the work is. So they want it to be easy. They want to be seeing more customers, collecting more revenue. So just to put that law into perspective, if they bump it from 118 to 136, they double their cleaning power. If they go to 154, they double it again over 136. So if you take it all the way up to 250, that's 64 times better than 118 degrees Fahrenheit. So now you kind of see these maniacs out there, they want hot temperature, they want this pressure, they want to get that job done, get it done fast, have it done good. So some will be extreme on the temperature and pressure. Others will say, let's get a optimum setting of pressure and temperature, because the hotter you get, the potential that you have for an accident if a hose bursts. And somebody could get hurt, or hot water at high pressure sprays out and causes a damage. So there's different ways that people operate. Oh, let me go back to that picture. I wanted to point something out. I know it's a little fuzzy, but the reason why I wanted to show this particular picture, yes, there's quick connects there. And if we take our solution hose on this reel right here, here's like our quick connect. Notice this little black area right here. That's a valve. It could be a plug valve, it could be a ball valve. But the nice thing about that is if you're replacing the quick connect and these lines are disconnected, you can now have the valve in the closed position and drain the solution hose where you want it, when you want to, so you dispose properly of what's in the line. So it just adds a nice little extra user friendliness to it. So yeah, there's our truck mount, mobile van, wanting to park as close as they can. So sometimes it's in the front, sometimes it's in the driveway. They want their lines to be nice and straight so they get better pressure and temperature delivered on site. So I'm just going to say, so here's our hot water line, and there could be cleaning chemicals in there. It's pressurized. If it's at 500 PSI, one of the popular hoses that they use, it's an excellent one. It's the Goodyear Neptune 3000. It's called the solution hose. There's also one for washdown, but this one goes to higher pressures and up to 250 degrees Fahrenheit. And people like this hose because it's lighter, it's more flexible, and it's non-marking on the floor. You don't want to be causing damage to the floors that you're cleaning or other items in the residence or commercial building. So what's at the other end of this solution hose? Well, that's what they carry into the farthest room that they're going to go ahead and clean. It's called a wand. And that's where the solution or the high pressure water comes into this and then gets sprayed onto the carpet down below, and the return vacuum line sucks up the water that was placed on the floor. So this goes down to the jets. We got a handle here. Notice the valve actuator is 1200 PSI rated, and our plug on the quick connect is more than twice that rating. So one of the things with a truck mount, you can imagine if you use a lot of water, it's a little bit harder for the machine to keep up with maintaining the temperature. So people can be heavy on the trigger and they use a lot of water. So here's like a single jet. There's also double jets. This one is showing 3 jets. So you can imagine you have 3 jets, you're spraying more fluid, you're covering the carpet faster, but you're consuming more water, so you need to maintain the temperature. And that's where a truck mount is really good, having a better pump and better heating, and that's why it's kind of the best result that you get in many cases. So here's a commercial building. They could do this. They could go to the mall. They can go to a restaurant, health and medical facilities. You'll probably see a lot more things happening at schools with how things are out there. And I know you're thinking, hey, I'm pretty excited. I'm going to sell a mile of solution hose. That van's parked across the park. But what they use for this application is called a portable carpet extractor. And that's what you see right here. In this particular case, the hookup is in the back, so the quick connects, valving and stuff like that, and some of the gauges, they're all up behind the unit. Many times it can be in the front. You'll have like a holding container and solution container in these two areas. And there's also a variety of pipe fittings and tubing, and they could be using loop clamps like on certain lines to keep them away from heating elements. Here's our wand, our vacuum line. So now you're seeing everything all hooked up. There's our solution line. So that's our supply line. That's our return line. So on this portable, this one's heated. It goes up to 213 degrees Fahrenheit, and its maximum pressure rating is 500 PSI. So it's great for carpet and upholstery. But the thing to know is on the portable, the pump, the vacuum, and the heating supply is not as strong as the truck mount. So if they're using a lot of water, that temperature can drop faster and it could be harder to heat it back up. All right, so we got a little background. We did our deep dive into the market, some of the equipment, how it's used. So what is a quick connect, a QD, and a coupling? Well, they're all the same thing. And a QD isn't just a good-looking quick connect. It's also known as a quick disconnect. So as you kind of noticed with the carpet cleaners, their lines are not connected. I don't want to use a wrench every time to connect my line together, gall my threads, use my Teflon tape, and then all of a sudden the threads get marked up and I got a leak. No, I want to use a quick connect. And what it does great, it quickly connects and disconnects a line without fluid loss or entrance of air into a system. And equipment needing fast assembly, yep, those extractors, they want to assemble them quick. And just out, like if you're in a plant or manufacturing different industry, you have equipment that needs routine service, the Quick Connect is a great product to use. All right, just so we're all kind of on the same page with nomenclature, we'll just do a couple of basics. So there's two components in the Quick Connect. So here's the female component, goes by a variety of different names, a socket, a coupler, a female half, it's all kind of the same thing. The male component, which is the plug, the nipple, the coupling insert, those are some of the different names you'll hear used. And in our case, we're going to talk a lot coming up about the ISO-B coupler. It has shutoff, or it has a valve in the socket. So here's the valve, and it has a valve over in the plug. So right now when it's disconnected, if there's any pressure or water over here, it's not going to flow out onto the ground because the coupler is closed when it's disconnected. When they're connected, by retracting the sleeve, you're able to insert the plug, make a connection, and you got a secure leak-free connection. Now don't let the name fool you. Hydraulic quick connects. It's not just used for hydraulics, but that's just kind of how it's named. So in the carpet cleaning industry, yes, they're using a hydraulic quick connect. The important thing is you select your temperature and your media so you get compatibility and the pressure is suitable for the quick connect. So you could use a hydraulic quick connect for air, liquid, many other things besides hydraulic fluid. But our ISO-B coupler is a double shutoff. It prevents spillage when it's disconnected. And right here with it connected, each valve or poppet, they push against each other and they create an opening for flow. And we're going to talk about the straight through coupler, which has no valving inside of it. So when you remove all of the valve in the poppet, you have much higher flow. And so when a person needs a high flow, they may remove a valve or two. And in the case of the ISO-B, there are locking balls that secure the plug when it's connected, and it attaches and grips right into this little trough right here and gives you a secure connection, leak-free connection for the quick connect. All right. So now we're looking at our two brands that we offer. Our Foster USA made and engineered design brand is done out of Springfield, Missouri. And that's this product right here. So here's our socket of our ISO-B, Foster USA. You'll kind of notice it has this unique look to it. And over here is the Brico, which is our import brand. And it has a tapered body over here. So it's a little more slender. The Foster's been working out with Arnold, you know, pumping some iron. But one thing about the people at Foster is they're in the show me state. And they want to see how things are done. So when you call up, they love to hear from you. They want to see how things are used. That's how we make a better product. And so we're ISO 9001 approved to the latest standard. And I know you see 2015 on there. That is the most recent standard for ISO 9001. If you're an old timer like me, you probably remember when things were getting started, ISO was all about following the documentation. So if you made good product, you said you did it, and so forth, okay, you're ISO 9001 approved. You make bad product and you follow your procedures and you produce bad product, you're ISO 9001 approved. It was about getting all of the documentation and procedures in place, which is very important. But today's ISO 9001 is about becoming better. So if you have a failure, everybody has failures. You learn from that, you document it, and you put the corrective action in place. You have a premature failure, or you could do something better. You identify it, you do your failure analysis, you document it, and you put the corrective action in place. That's what ISO 9001 is today, and it keeps getting better. And we don't want to forget about our friends to the north. So we have CRN registered a variety of products, the TSSA standards that we meet, and the ISO-B meets that CRN. We want to make sure it gets done right. And so that philosophy of show me is great when it comes to import product. If anybody's been around a while and you've used a product coming from overseas, you know, the first time it comes in, it's great. I've worked for a variety of manufacturers and distributors. You get that first article coming in, it looks beautiful, and then maybe over time they thin out the walls. So our friends up north in the oil and gas industry, and they want to keep things safe for pressure vessels. You thinned out that wall, it may not be as safe as it used to be. So Foster is all about show me. So we want to make sure it's fit, form, and function. The product doesn't just come in and we ship it out, we're testing it. So when we send an order over for thousands of pieces for a given item, they have to send us 30 first. And we go through fit, form, and function and testing. Then we tell them, yeah, go ahead and send us over, in this case, the Brico carpet cleaning coupler. So when it comes back in, we're going back through fit, form, and function. We want to make sure that it's connecting to the mating part, and it even connects over to the Foster because they're both ISO-B. They should connect to each one. Do the threads meet spec? The profile, is it proper? The material, the markings? And we're going through leak testing. We test at 20 PSI, 100 PSI in the coupled and uncoupled position. And we do other things such as heat testing at various times. And then we will cycle test after being exposed in the oven for 300 degrees for a few hours. And that's all to make sure we catch problems before they get out in the field. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and go into the specifics of the product. So here's the Foster FHK series. It's an ISO-B coupler, and this is our USA-made product. So it's made in the USA, right there in Springfield. And the sizes range from 1/8 inch up to 1 inch female NPT, SAE sizes up to 16. And the pressure rating, depending on size or material, is 3,000 to 5,000 PSI. So just refer to the pressure charts. You don't need to memorize it. That's why the tables are in the catalog. And the body materials are brass, steel, 304 stainless, and 316 stainless. For the carpet cleaning market, there are 3 popular sizes: 1/8 inch, 1/4, and 3/8, with the 1/4 inch being the overwhelming workhorse. So that's the one that's used most of the time. And in brass, which is most popular, is 2,700 PSI. And some people will choose stainless because it lasts longer. And some people have the mindset, I want to do less repair and maintenance. And so they always choose the best. Others are driven a little bit by cost or what gets the job done. Now on temperature rating, all 3 of these materials are highly used in the carpet cleaning industry. You saw the truck mount goes to 250 max. The portable extractor is going to be less than that. And you're also going to have temperature losses as you go from the source out to the wand. But a lot of people use Buna in large quantities. EPDM is probably the one I'd probably lean you towards, but you always want to find out from your customer about their application and let them kind of select after you provided the info. And Viton also gets used a lot with up to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. So for hot water and steam, EPDM is the best. Viton could be fair to good and sometimes not recommended for steam. But we do have customers that use Viton quite a bit. And when certain solutions get added and they know from their experience that it works well, hey, that's great. But if all you're doing is looking at temperature rating and trying to think, I want the one that goes to the hottest temperature, you may want to think about media compatibility. Okay, why Foster FHK series? So we want to have fast, reliable connections. So we're assembling our line out in the residence or the commercial building. There's a nice quick connect right there on the hose reel. So we want fast, easy connections. We want it to be reliable. Foster is known for quality, longer service life, rugged and durable. So this particular gentleman from this company, I met him at a trade show. He happened to be the owner and designer of the equipment. We're talking about it. He's telling me a variety of things, how it operates, and I'm learning some pretty cool stuff. And then because I'm from Foster, I said, well, how are those Foster Quick Connects right here working for you? You got 3 of them. And he goes, they're great. They last longer than anything I've tried. He goes, I tried going at an inexpensive route like the import stuff, and I've used some other ones in the industry, but the Foster lasts the longest and can be like over twice as long as the other items I use. So can you imagine, I'm selling this $20,000 piece of equipment, and the thing that the operator does every single time and multiple times a day is connect up to that equipment. And if they're putting inexpensive, low quality product up there, every time they use that $20,000 piece of equipment, they're getting a bad experience. So that's why it's great to use a high quality product. So one thing that Foster does that no one else does is we have a much larger contact area of the locking ball. So this was that locking ball on the sleeve that locks the plug into place. So we have a big contact surface area all around the ball, where our competitor has a point contact that contacts it in a very small area. Well, what does that mean? The competition has greater wear resistance and shorter life and high force being applied to a small area. And then it also makes the hoses harder to swivel. So what does that look like? So there's the metal area that's supporting the competitor's ball. That force is concentrated on a super small area. And so what it's doing, it has a lot more stress. It's flattening that ball out so it doesn't roll as good. What does that mean? The sleeve is harder to retract. It's harder to connect. And sometimes you can't disconnect it. And then it's leaking and it's not working properly. But on the Foster, you'll notice this curvature right along here on both sides. And what that does is it divides up this big force over here where it's damaging in an area, and it puts much smaller forces and distributes the load so that the ball maintains its shape. So you get good smooth sleeve retraction, easy connections, leak-free connections, much longer than the other quick connects on the market. All right, this is what you were waiting for. And for those young people out there, that's an old-fashioned bicycle seat. So it's all in the seat. Let's take a look at the design. Right here, we're looking at a common design, and this is another manufacturer out there showing how they designed the Quick Connect. And I highlighted the most important part, which is the sealing area of the Quick Connect. Number 8 on the plug, valve seal, O-ring. Number 5 on the socket, valve seal, O-ring. Well, what's so bad about having a O-ring on the poppet? Well, it's in this cavity, and if you have high pressure, dynamic pressure, where it goes from low to high and high to low, high velocity, that O-ring wants to jump out of that groove. It wants to roll, it wants to twist, it offsets, it's not sealing in the same position every single time. Pressure gets behind the O-ring, kind of expands it a little bit. So it's not as good performance as the Foster design. And some people, yes, they'll crimp that O-ring in there, put stress on the O-ring, which can kind of damage a certain area, which does sealing. So it's not an optimal way to get the best performance out of the Quick Connect. Oh, you know that those Foster design engineers, they say no a lot. They're kind of a little bit unruly. And, you know, they say no rotation, no rolling, no stretching, no offsetting. And they're saying no inferior performance. And you know what? They would be happy to hear from you. They always love hearing from the customer, so don't think that they're a bunch of old grumps out there. But they're great designers, and they have a lot of practical experience with Foster being around for about 75 years. So what we have up here is a 3-piece assembly. We have a 360-degree conical metal seat that guides and self-aligns going into the body. This seat right here is not an O-ring. It has a much smoother finish, and it's held in place by this sleeve. So when this seal goes to get installed, you can't roll it over this ramp because it's like a washer. It has a small diameter. It keeps it centered on the poppet rod, which would be this right here. And it's not going to roll. It's not going to twist. And this piece right here is wedged into place. So this seal is locked into place. It's not going anywhere, whether it's high pressure or high flow. In fact, in the trench shoring industry, they were using a competitive product, and they did a bad safety situation where they disconnect the quick connect at high pressure, and what it caused was the O-ring to roll out of the valve seat due to the high pressure. So when they went to ours, they eliminated that problem. So with our Foster design, that's a superior valve seat. So the advantage goes to Foster. You get enhanced sealing performance. And because of that design, we're the only people who have a vacuum rating. Other people might refer to vacuum service, but they don't stand behind their product and supply a vacuum rating. Because once you put the rating on there, it has to perform to that level of performance. We got our 360 metal-to-metal valve stop that enables us to get the quick connect to fully open each time. We've redesigned our 1/8 inch, so we have 37% higher flow and higher flow than anyone on the market out there. As a standard, we use a kick spring, which is stronger force to help ensure good shutoff and faster shutoff, where maybe some competitors only do that as an option and some don't do it at all, but you pay more for it when you're getting that option. So Foster, easier connections, longer cycle life. We also have a lot of product on the shelf, but we're also great at fast delivery when you're doing like a stainless valve internal, mixing different seals that aren't the ones that are normally used. We can do like 100 pieces in 1 to 3 days and up to 1,000 in like 3 to 5 days. When you're getting to 1,000, it's good to check just to see how the factory's doing. It might go to 7 if it's a extremely busy period of time, but we manage it very well, and we can get out a lot of product that isn't normally stocked throughout the industry faster than others. So with the brass, you get standard stainless steel locking balls, stainless spring, stainless retaining ring, and as I inferred, you can also get a brass quick connect with the stainless valve and all kinds of seals. So some of the portable extractors will have a heating source in it and some won't. So what you see up here is a manufacturer using a Foster USA made quick connect on a heating element to help produce heat in a portable heat extractor. And this time you see the quick connect is in the front, nice Foster quick connect right here for the solution hose. And here's another manufacturer using the Foster USA design on their heating element with the Foster quick connect here and the plug in the back. Now, what happens if it's too hot to handle? So you saw, hey, that machine goes up to 250. You might have some rogue operator going hotter than that. You know what? It doesn't have to be that hot to be too hot to handle. I don't want to touch something that's 200 degrees. I don't really want to touch something that's 150 degrees. So the solution hose is insulated with the cover, but when you go to touch a metal part, so if it was 200 degrees running through the solution hose, well, that coupler is going to get close to that temperature. And even if there's a drop on the outside of it, I still don't want to be touching that. Yeah, there we go. We have the insulated sleeves. So that shields the worker from a hot surface temperature, because that's performing the insulation like the solution hose cover. But what's cool about it is you can use the red one for a hot line, the blue one for a cold line. We got information from a distributor that we like to thank, and we designed a yellow one for Stanley Steamer, and we also do black. So black and blue are probably the most common. And so now we'll look at the Brico carpet cleaning import coupler. It goes up to 2.5 inches And the pressure rating from 1/8 inch to 1 inch is exactly the same as the Foster when you're matching like seals and like material. The reason of 700 is when you go up to 2.5 inches. Pressure generally drops the larger the system. So I can't believe it, but we put our Foster engineered design valve seat also in our import coupler. So this import coupler is giving the best performance out on the market, lasting longer, and getting better shut off, whether it's vacuum or high pressure. It comes standard not only with the locking ball stainless, the retaining ring, and the spring as stainless as standard, but you also get the valve poppet in the 1/4 inch, and both the socket and the plug is stainless, and it's also available in EPDM or Viton. Oops, got a duplicate. And yes, it comes with the insulated sleeves. One user was using the yellow for warm lines, the blue for cold lines, and they use the red for hot lines. But you know what? In any other industry, what a great way to use a color-coded line so that you're connecting the proper line to the proper source. So here's that 1200 PSI rated valve. And then here's our Brico plug on a carpet cleaning wand, which is going to 2700 PSI. Here's the whole setup on a piece of equipment that kind of has rotary motion, and it's spraying in a circular pattern. All right. We have a plug valve, and it provides fast on-off service just like a ball valve. 1/4 turn, quickly gets you up and running. But what's different about the ball valve, or the plug valve, is that it goes to 3000 PSI. We put EPDM seals in it as standard, so it's great for the carpet cleaning industry. And they like the 1/4 inch female by male connection because it eliminates a pipe fitting when they're hooking it up to the system. Remember that solution hose on the truck mount where they had a valve, then the quick connect? 3000 PSI. What's different about the plug valve is that it also has a little channel that vents whatever gets trapped when the plug valve is in the closed position. So if you had like a hot water and it's out in the Phoenix sun and it's expanding and pressurizing, if it was used on a vent line and you open it and the user stood in front of it, that's kind of a dangerous situation. So that channel vents out that fluid so it doesn't cause a problem. There's no packing to adjust, and we have a new handle design that has a channel that better secures the handle in place. And you'll notice with the plug valve, it has a flow arrow. So flow goes in the direction. So here's your inlet, here's your outlet, up to 3,000 pounds. You could have reverse flow and pressure from the opposite side, but you don't want to exceed 50 PSI in a reverse flow condition. We've also added a 1/4 inch male by male. It can be used in the carpet cleaning for people who like to use the male by male setup. It has Viton, so it could be used in carpet cleaning, but this one is used a lot in trench shoring. So let's look at an application. Here you see the plug valve in action on one of the control panels of a truck mount. You see some other valves, flow meter, or pressure indicators for vacuum, for the return line, and the solution hose, which we see right here. Got a Brico quick connect, plug on there. So here's an idea. Our plug valve is a little bit newer. It's being used out there, but here's an application just like on that truck mount. They have a ball valve. Why do you need a ball valve when you have a quick connect that automatically shuts off? What if I want to take this off when I take this off and I have trapped residual fluid in here, it might be under pressure, and now it's going to want to spurt out uncontrollably. But if I have a ball valve, I can keep it closed, and I can take the quick connect off and maintain a leak-free setup, and then dispose of the fluid when I'm ready. Here's another potential application. On a portable heat extractor, you see a ball valve. There's no packing adjustment on this ball valve, so as the seat wears, you can't adjust it, where the plug valve is using an O-ring that's maintaining the adjustment on there. It's also, our plug valve has a way safer pressure rating. Some of these might be 300, 500, and maybe 1,000 PSI at the top end, but I'll tell you, people are using the lowest pressure rating on the higher pressure applications. When it comes to coupler selection, here's this little acronym that I find pretty useful. And I know there's one for hose assemblies, stamped, which is excellent. It's kind of the same thing. So temps. So that's what we want to remember. And what I like about temps is it asks quick, fast questions in the beginning. And then at the end, you spend your time, most of your time, talking about the service and the application. So first thing, temperature. What's your temperature? 200F. What's your end connection? It's female NPT. Okay, what size is it? So I got my size. Well, what media do you have? I have hot water going through it. Okay, and the pressure? Oh, it's 500 PSI. I have all of those stats right now to select my quick connect, but now I want to ask them about the service. How are you using the product? Have you had any problems with what you're using? So you want to spend and ask a lot of questions, because that's how you find out how to optimize what they're doing. So they might have said, hey, when I go to the residential place, I need to hook up to their water line, and it sure would be nice to have an easier product that allows me to disconnect the two easier and faster. Hey, okay, now we got the quick connect for the garden hose. Maybe they tell you, hey, I noticed when I went into the place, I dropped the solution hose and I cracked the person's tile. Or I dragged that solution hose across the place and they had a real nice fancy wooden floor and I scratched it up. Well, that insulated cover is going to be more gentle on the floor surfaces, and it protects the heat. So that's where you want to spend a lot of time on service questions. So like in this one, hey, what the heck happened here? We had extreme heat. Is that your normal operating temperature? It is? Okay, well, we better select a different material, because I know when you disconnected this solution hose, the quick connect couldn't shut off all the way. And you see an opening right here. So we had 250-degree fluid coming out of the solution hose, spraying onto somebody. Well, that's not good. Remember that valve in the previous position? That would work out pretty good. Or it could be, hey, I had a failure on the truck mount. My thermometer went out, and I had an uncontrolled temperature rise that caused damage throughout, you know, like on the hoses and the other components. So ask questions about service and application. So here's that idea. So when they went to disconnect, if they had this, they could have had the Brico plug valve. They put it in the closed position. That gets rid of the residual pressure in the coupler. And now when they disconnect it, the coupler shuts off. So you have two shutoffs right there. It's kind of a backup. All right. We're taking a look at my car that I'm hoping to get one day. I'm liking the look of it, and hopefully it's not a lot of decades. But here's my car. You know, it's a classic. You know, I drove it down the street this weekend. I had a lot of people looking at me. I had my girl in the back, and I got my dog with me, and Granny, you know, they were all with me. So I want them to take care of my classic car. So I want to make sure they're using Foster Quick Connects. So they're getting a leak-free assembly. So there's all kinds of upholstery attachments, crevice attachments, different hose assemblies, vacuum and solution hose. There are so many different pieces of the equipment, and they all use the ISO-B coupler. So straight through series are also used for the carpet cleaners. And they're also used, as you know, in your business for power washing. So the Foster USA made product, up to 1.5 inches female. We also have a hose bar up to 6,000 PSI and a whole host of seals, even more than you see here. And these are our materials: brass, steel, stainless. So the workhorse for the carpet cleaning and power wash industry is right here: 1/4 3/8. Female connections. They also like male connections and the corresponding plug, but they'll also go up to 1/2 inch and 1/8 inch. And Foster was the first manufacturer to do 1/8 inch. And we're the standard used in air rifles. So the users are going to be using mostly brass. And if they need high pressure or the best corrosion resistance, or the person who has the mindset, I want the longest lasting product, they're going to be choosing stainless. So here's the stainless product right here: brass plug, steel plug. Use steel for strength, so when the locking balls come in here, it's not deforming the area. Brass is softer, so it'll mechanically wear out faster than the steel. But if you're using it for water or you need better corrosion resistance, choose a brass plug. And if you have like real harsh chemicals, go with the stainless. So there's a lot of pre-spray, injection sprays in the carpet cleaning. There's also in the agricultural market. If they need high flow, they want to use a straight through quick connect. But if they need shut off, they want to use an ISO-B. So here's the thing. Here's an injection sprayer. They're using both. They keep the handle attached to the hose, and they only disconnect the solution hose to the tank. So they want shut off so it doesn't spill on the floor. So ISO-B double shut off prevents leakage, while the straight through provides maximum flow. Here's a nice little safety device you can get with the ISO-B and also the straight through. Ball lock for safety. When the sleeve is rotated, you can't retract the sleeve. So if you catch the sleeve on a corner, it's not going to accidentally disengage. When you want to connect or disconnect, align this notch with the locking ball. So here's a power washer. They don't always use the locking ball, but they do in some cases. You kind of see showing the power of the pressure washer, and you got wood flying everywhere. It might be kind of nice to have a locking sleeve on the socket. And here's a pressure washer where they use a lot of the straight through quick connects. So we're going to wrap it up here with a slide or two. ZSI loop clamps get used on the truck mount systems. Inside the portable extractors, you see some of the EPDM loop clamps. We also have stainless, but steel gets used most of the time. And the ideal high gear worm gear clamp, here it is on a vacuum line right here. So they'll use this also on other low pressure hoses that might be behind the truck mount panel or in a airline on the portable. All right, if you have any questions, this is our next to last slide. And I want to pay a little homage to Brian, who really drove home the need for dust caps and dust plugs. So the ISO-B has a bunch of these rubber dust caps. So one works for the socket, one works for the plug. Actually, this one right here is the double. So it works for the socket and the plug. While this one, you'd get one for the plug and one for the socket. And we also have it in metal. So that helps, you know, keep the gunk out of the quick connect, and also protects the sealing surfaces. All right, that leads us up to questions. So I don't know if, Brian, you have any questions that have come in yet?
Yeah, Parrish,
But
we
you
have
know what?
a couple questions that came in.
Okay.
Why don't we go ahead and start off? There's a question here about the kick spring, saying that you pay more for the kick spring, and I'm just going to paraphrase it here. Can you talk a little bit more about that between the Brico, Foster, and the competitors?
Yeah. So that what we kind of call it, give it that fun name there. But what it means is the spring constant is a bit stiffer. So what that does is when the quick connect is connected, it's in the open position. Now, when you disconnect it, that spring force has more force, and it's going to put the valve in the closed position faster. So less fluid is going to come out of the quick connect than other people. Plus, when you have a higher force, and people who design all different kinds of instrument valves and process valves know that added force gives better sealing performance. So that's another one of the reasons why our quick connect works better. So the other ones will have a lighter spring, and there's a particular manufacturer that they do offer a heavy spring, but you pay more for that. It's probably one of those off-book, off-catalog options, but that's the difference between our spring and someone else's.
Okay. Next question, does the 3/8 ISO-B require an EPDM or Viton seal?
All right. Hey, you know, remember temps. So whenever you're dealing with a customer, find out how they're using it, what's going on in the system, the temperature, the end connections, the media, and the pressure. And so when it's coming to EPDM, person's probably asking for the chemical compatibility, like the 1/4 inch. So you want to pay attention to temperature, so the seal can handle the temperature, and the media, so it's properly selected. So once you have that, you can help the user find the product. But just to kind of say, most of the time, it's the 1/4 inch that requires the EPDM, and the 3/8 or the 1/8 inch isn't the standard Buna is used more often, but they will still sometimes use the EPDM. So you have to ask about the application.
Okay. Does Foster have any marketing material that represents all the fitting types that were discussed today in one sheet?
Do you know if that was just when they're saying fittings, are they referring to the couplers, or I kind of referenced the like pipe fittings and hex? So yes, we have in our catalog, we have a section in the quick coupling that shows like the hex nipples, the street elbows, the brass, the steel, reusable hose end fittings. So those are shown there. And then if you're referring to clamps, we have the Ideal catalog that'll have those items, which I didn't go into a lot of detail on. So I'll send out the information that has the regional sales manager. Reach out to them and ask them for the marketing materials that you need. You'll get a copy of the presentation today. So we do have support material that you can use for training. So we encourage you to contact us. We have a lot of different marketing ideas, and sometimes we may not have something, and that's how we start to develop something to help you out with.
Okay. What is throttling is the next question.
Throttling, that's where you have the valve, and let's say it's in the closed position. You crack it open because let's say you have 3,000 PSI in the line, and if you turn it open real fast, you're going to cause a pressure spike to the system. You could cause water hammer. So you want to crack it open. So you go to low flow to medium flow to your high flow. And you can do that fast with a ball valve and a plug valve. But a ball valve, you do not want to throttle it because it'll cause cavitation on the seats, which will lead to leakage because the flow is hitting directly on the seat on a ball valve, eroding it. So plug valves you can throttle, ball valves don't throttle.
Okay. And if you have any more questions, go ahead and get them in. We have one more here. What is the temperature at the wand?
All right. That's kind of a hard thing to know. But let's say at the machine, which is ATM, they might say it's 250 degrees. Does that 250 mean it's right at the quick connect coming out of the machine, or is that at the exhaust? So I'm getting a little complicated. And then you have at the wand. So if you're at 250 and it goes to the wand, you're going to have a drop off. You might have a 10 to 20 degree drop off, but it's going to vary, depending on pressure, the ability for the extractor to maintain temp and water consumption. But you're probably finding 150 to 240 is the temperature that's at the wand.
Okay, very good. That is all the questions for now. If you do have any additional questions, feel free to reach out to Parrish or to your regional sales manager. So I'll turn it back over to you, Parrish, for closing out.
All right. Once again, thank you for learning about our products. Thank you for joining us. And reach out to us. We're here to help you. So everybody have a great day.